I'm a big fan. Are you?
You may not know his name, but you definitely know his art. David Adickes is legendary for his giant talent and even more for his giant steel and concrete artworks. From his colorful We Love Houston signs that will now greet visitors at both Hobby and Bush airports to huge images of the Beatles in East Downtown.
Oh, he loves the Beatles.
Yeah.
He loves the Beatles.
His iconic images are everywhere in Houston. Adickes is now 98 years old and had a stroke last December. But while his speech and walking have slowed, his wit is still quick.
Which do you love more, painting or sculpture?
Girls.
I didn't even see that coming. But do you prefer one over the other, painting or sculptures?
That's a very good question. I love them both equally.
Growing up in Huntsville, Adickes studied art in Paris after serving in World War II. He has worked in every art medium, even music. And for decades, he was known for his colorful paintings, which line every wall in his home and studios. And among his fans, well, both Presidents Bush and Elvis, shown here with daughter Lisa Marie, and Adickes' painting in the background.
How did he end up hooking up with Elvis?
I think he was represented by a gallery, and Elvis just liked the work.
Yeah, it was the designer for that home out in California, and David was represented by a gallery out there.
Then a local developer asked him to do something different for the Lyric Center in the Downtown Arts Center.
And quite frankly, there are a lot of collectors in the Houston area who knew him before he started the sculptures as strictly a painter. And then the first commission to do a large sculpture came along, and he kind of shifted gears. And so then there's a whole other group of people who know him primarily as a sculptor and are unaware of the extensive work he's done in painting.
But it was his larger-than-life sculptures that really put Adickes on the map, beginning with a giant cello player downtown.
After the unveiling, as you drove by there, as a kid on your way to wherever, did you sort of turn around and go, my dad did that?
Always.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it was real exciting if you had a friend that you could show off to,
I think it's just always been bigger is better.
His biggest sculpture can be seen from 6 miles away. Texas hero Sam Houston stands 67 feet tall just outside his hometown of Huntsville. It was completed in 1994.
He was invited to go to one of the planning meetings for the bicentennial celebration of Sam Houston's birth. And everybody was saying, well, we'll try to have a commemorative postage stamp, and we'll have a recipe book, and we'll do a rose. And David got up and said, I propose a 10-foot or 10 times life-size statue. And just like, everybody, okay, well. And he said, I want something that will be there not for the bicentennial, but the tricentennial and the next, and on and on and on.
More on that in a moment. But the 25-ton Sam Houston, built from a steel frame and 5 layers of concrete, was actually dwarfed by another jaw-dropping series of sculptures, the heads of 43 American presidents, from Washington to Obama. Adickes said it was after he took a trip to Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great to do the presidents, but not just the 4, but all of them. I'd already done George Bush Sr. and Jr. That's when the idea came, to do all the presidents together, inspired by Mount Rushmore.
It took years to complete the 20-foot-high presidential heads, and they were finally shown as a set in 2003, first in South Dakota, close to Mount Rushmore, and then in 2004, a second set in Williamsburg, Virginia. And another set of 4 is at I-10 and I-45 near downtown. Presidents Washington and Lincoln, and Texas founding fathers Stephen F. Austin and Sam Houston. They're 18 feet high and 2 tons. Adickes says he nicknamed it Mount Rush Hour. Both parks have since closed, and Adickes wants to see the third and final set of presidents remain here in Houston and in a place where the public can see them. Right now, his studio is home to a sometimes eerie-looking collection of presidential heads in a neighborhood. So far, no one has agreed to buy and display all 43, but local collectors like attorney Tony Busby have bought some additions. He had 6 sculptures moved to his ranch just last month.
He's always a Texas person, and Texas, I think, has benefited tremendously from his presence and his work. Well, Linda's exactly right. There's not bluebonnets and horns. I do think he's a very important part of the story of art in this town and in the state. Well, I hope they get to stay here and stay together.
Me too.
They're a family. They're their own family.
What would you like your legacy to be?
That's good work that I have contributed to the well-being of the planet in a small way, a very small way.
Melanie Lawson, 13 Eyewitness News.